Welcome to another episode of the Chrissy Mayer podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening right now on iTunes, please go and leave a 5-star review. I read the best reviews every week, so long as they're 5 stars. It could be creepy, it could be flirty, it could be a recipe, honestly, and I'll read it. For example, like this review from GJ972. Sounds like a robot. Chrissy is hilarious and smart. I have a feeling this show is going to get a lot more popular. Oh, thanks. Thanks, GJ Bleep Bloop. Wow, that's great. Thanks for all the nice reviews, guys. Also very excited to talk about, it's not really new, but they are my sponsor, Silk City Hot Sauce. Go to silkcityhotsauce.com right now. Use the code CMP. You're going to get 15% off your whole order. And these guys are going to throw in a free bottle of cherry sriracha. What I really like about this hot sauce company is that they put on the side how hot it is, so you know what you're getting into. You know, it's anywhere from mild to WTF to call an ambulance. This is something I'm going to try tonight. It's a Bubonic Tonic. It looks like something that would have alcohol in it, but it doesn't. It's maple syrup, hot peppers, ginger, garlic, cider. This looks like something that'll take the paint off your car or the poop out of your insides. I don't know. I'm excited. I love these guys. So go to silkcityhotsauce.com. Use the promo code CMP. Get 15% off. Get your free cherry sriracha and your free stickers. Without further ado, I'm so excited to have this guy on the pod today. He is a comedian, author, podcast host. Some would say, I read it on one bio, a political activist. His 11th album is out now, called The Dying of a Last Breed. His book, No Encore for the Donkey, is available now on Audible. And his podcast, the Doug Stanhope podcast, can be heard on All Things Comedy. Doug, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I got up at 7 a.m. and took an edible, but just enough to put a smile on my face.
Do you take edibles daily?
No, but I've been taking them more and more. It's a new thing especially since COVID.
Is it helping you? I guess it's helping your stress or helping, deal with the uncertainty in the world.
It makes me feel like I could write again.
Ooh.
Like when I'm just boozing, I get all fucking, I'm never going to be funny again. And then, edibles go, oh shit, this is a funny idea.
Yeah, I've definitely been feeling that way the last few months. Like I've started questioning, like, am I a stand-up comedian? Am I just a podcast person? Like, do I need to show my stomach and get on TikTok more? So I just feel like the last few months is like, it's been real weird. And you've decided to go with a COVID haircut, which I'm liking very much.
I started just shaving one patch a day for the first month and then this was still left. And I go, I think I keep that.
You look like the cover of like the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Like that's the vibe, the whole room you're in right now.
Oh, but I can change movies in a pair of sunglasses.
Oh my God.
Talking to me? You talking to me? Taxi driver right there.
Yeah. Wow. There we go. We're making online content.
Do you want to know how I found you?
How?
I got on Twitter one morning, which is the worst thing to do. Save that for later when you're drinking. And someone was just talking fucking, I forget what, just evil, nasty shit. And so I went into rage mode and fuck you and I'll kill your family. And so I looked him up and he like just joined Twitter this summer and he had no tweets. It's like a retweet account, but he had replies. Like every one of his replies was talking shit, just being a miserable cunt.
To what? What was he talking shit about?
Just to comics or fucking late night talk show hosts.
Wow.
Just one of those empty, impotent rage people.
Yes.
And so I looked at who he follows, and it's mostly like right-wing people. But he followed you, and I go, fuck it. You know what? I bet I get on her podcast, and that would just make him even more incensed that I'm your guest.
Oh, wow. So this was a big and elaborate plot to get back at this guy.
Yeah, you're like a hate fuck.
Oh, Oh, nice. I'll
like
take
just
it.
to get back at a girlfriend.
Do you remember his name or his handle or?
No, and I thought of that. I remembered it this morning, and right before we started, I go, "Fuck, I forgot it," and I'm like, I don't want to give him any credit
Yeah, no,
because
he doesn't
because
deserve it.
if 50 people that follow you fit the bill, they'll all feel like I'm talking about them. So it's better that way.
Yeah, it's better to. I'm all for not making people feel special who don't deserve it.
I've seen a lot of that though. I don't know if you have people who have just joined Twitter since this all started, just to vent, and I get it.
Yeah. And there's also people who, try to make their whole career, their whole brand just on taking down comics, shitting on comics, critiquing everything they do, you know, writing like a hit piece about a comic they don't like instead of just I think it's better to just focus on what you do like and support and, bring up the people who you love.
Yeah, I have a really hard time like not engaging. And you go, that's the only way these people get noticed is if you engage. And sometimes you're like, oh, motherfucker, I have a
Yeah.
really good comeback, but I'm not using it.
It's so easy. Like I still definitely fight with people on Twitter or respond cuz I like to banter and I like sometimes like my responses will be funnier than my original tweet and then, most of my followers I feel like are kind of kind and good-hearted and genuine fans and then some people like shit on me because I feel like that's a very male way of bonding, like, oh, you suck, you look like a horse, or like whatever the usual comments are for me. And then I have to remember like, oh, and I check this person is following me. Okay, they're a fan. They probably like me. I'm gonna hold back on, ripping them a new one or whatever. But it's hard sometimes.
Before we went live here, you asked your person there to send you the 5-star review that you're going to read.
Yes.
Now, do you do that because you don't want to read them?
Oh, no, I did actually. I just read one at the very beginning. I think it's something it's a trick that I use to get people to leave me a 5-star review.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are fun. Like this one says, CM is cool. You are funny and stuff. And it's just by this guy named Giraffe Killer. They're not all going to be long paragraphs. I'm hoping that one of these reviews is going to be like my dad saying like 5 stars, please call me.
Well, yeah, I immediately thought I should steal that and read some 5-star reviews, but I definitely have my producer go through them because I made the mistake of once since the special came out, looking at reviews. And of course, you only look at the 1 star and it destroyed me. So, nah.
Really? Oh, yeah. You can't focus on like the one hater because you're a legend, man. Like everybody loves you. It's like, when I watch your act, I'm like, oh, this is what so many of my like peers and not peers are trying to be. And then, people watch you and it's like, oh, that's the real deal. So, I feel like because I watched your interview with Rogan and it seems you have a hard time acknowledging that you have a ton of fans and people really love you. And, it seems like you're like, oh, I don't know. I guess maybe it's a small group, but it's like a lot of people.
Yeah, they're tenacious. I appreciate what I have.
Yeah.
But it's the one person, especially if someone says something that you're thinking about yourself, where it's just seconding the voice in your head. You're like, oh, fuck, you know how to get to me.
Yeah, that's something I have to keep in mind too. Like it's only really bothering me because there's a little part of me that thinks that they're right and which sucks. Then you have to like kind of talk yourself down that because then everybody, right, when you respond to somebody, everybody can see their comment, whereas like when they're just tweeting at you, not everybody sees it. It's just, and the process of responding and continuing a banter is what like elevates their voice. So hindsight, man.
I had one the other night where I've had a few that were so innocuous. Like I was starting my 6 months. All right, this is the start of 6 months now. Hope everyone's doing great.
Oh yeah, I
under
saw
the
that.
circumstances. And someone wrote back, "What? Fuck you, you fucking hack! Why don't you stop fucking tweeting altogether?" I'm like, "Geez," I literally said, "I hope you have a good day," and someone was shitting on it.
Yeah, that's because that person is shitty on the inside. And anybody who's like that, who's meeting, if you tweet pure joy, peace, love, niceness, and they come back to you with hate and shittiness, that's because that's what they feel on the inside. And they want everybody else to feel what they're feeling, which is chaos and unhappiness.
And that I understand. That's not something that hits you in the gut. It's when someone says, yeah, that was the 1-star review, something about lazy writing in my fucking, I'm like, what? I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. And that review was probably not from another stand-up comic, probably from some dude who always wanted to be a comic, never had the balls to start, or, you can't take that shit personally, especially when the person doesn't know you, which is most people. I'm interested to hear from you, Doug. Do you think the Man Show would be able to fly today in 2020 with today's kind of TV standards?
I have no idea, but you would hope that it would just be not on the air because it wasn't funny at all.
Really? I love the Man Show.
Well, maybe their version, but yeah. That was not our sense of humor, what we got kind of shoehorned into. We went into it with a lot of promises of, oh, you're gonna make it your own and all that bullshit, and then now you're gonna do these bits. Those bits suck. I have no idea. I'm so lucky to be, to have my own audience now, and I don't have to worry about all that. Like if you were a kid coming up now, it would be so difficult to make a name for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only are you, younger, less wise, less confident overall, but it seems like there's so many, like that game Operation. You have to be so careful to like pick out the body part because you're going to knock against something and buzz and you have to start over again. It's hard to know because you're like, well, I don't want to piss anybody off. And there's so many people who just start and do it to get famous. But then the ones that are genuine are like, well, I can't talk about race now, and I can't talk unless I am Black, then that's all I should talk about. And it just seems like every decade there's a new taboo topic that you can't talk about.
And they're cyclical too. Like whatever, priest molestation. That was like, I remember at open mic in 1990, my buddy doing bits about it, and then it disappears and then it comes back. And yeah. It's not like rape was ever cool.
No one's ever had a good rape, I mean, like,
I guess to some extent you could get away with different stuff. Fuck the Man Show. I would not be able to exist. Like, I would not be able to develop into what I've become. I'm kind of grandfathered in on some level, and your points of view do change over, what's important to you when you're 25 and when you're 50, way different.
What have you noticed, like, for you personally has changed?
Well, I mean, I'm not 53 years old going up and talking about fucking a lot. It's gross.
You think fucking is gross now?
No one wants to hear an old dude. I remember when I was a kid watching Bobby Slayton and old guys like that, and, talking about fucking and fucking their wives, and like, no one wants to picture you fucking. Stop it.
Is there any group of people that you would enjoy hearing talk about that? Like, so you think if the person is going to be someone that everyone's going to enjoy, like imagining fucking, then they can talk about it. But if not, they shouldn't.
I'm talking about men specifically.
How do you feel about women who talk about that?
I guess I should have more specific examples. It's not the whole topic of fucking, but that's what you think about when you're in your 20s. That's your whole life is revolved around relationships and.
Yeah, you're not thinking about savings. You're not thinking about, the vaccine agenda. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, you're just like, oh, let me try not to get fired and try to get a boyfriend or a girlfriend or something. That's
kind of changing too, where young people are involved politically when they should probably be thinking about fucking. Because you probably don't know a lot of what you're talking about.
No, no. And it's like, and even if you're out of your 20s, even if you're older than that, it's so easy to just be like, well, this is what I've heard by my friends around me say, and nobody's really challenged one another. And it is easy to just sort of like repeat what you've been hearing. But for especially so when you're in your 20s and you haven't lived much of like actual life yet. And now looking back that I'm like well out of my 20s, I'm like, oh God, like, yeah, I sounded kind of retarded and kind of stupid.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't want that on a special.
no. Do you think, oh man, I mean, that's like kind of sad to hear that you were kind of promised that you could change the show and make it your own. And then they just like, well, you got to keep the girls jumping on trampolines. That's a really big part.
Yeah, but that I don't give a shit about. It was when I remember them telling me at one point during a pre-tape to, hey, sit up straight and like act like you want to be here. And I go, those are like two things that are antithesis to my entire character. You know,
Wow.
I slouch and I look grumpy. It's kind of
Yeah.
what I do.
You're
But
like, that's my thing.
yeah, so it was a good learning experience, which is why I don't live in LA anymore. I'm like, I don't want to do this. It sucks.
Yeah, and it seems like, I mean, yeah, you moved away from LA like a while ago, but it seems like now with there's so many of your peers that are moving away, Rogan moving to Texas, Joey Diaz just moved to New Jersey.
Oh,
Are you,
I didn't hear that.
yeah, I think so are you worried about kind of the state of LA, or, what the future of the comedy scene is going to be over there?
No, I don't worry
No,
about LA.
you're not worried.
Oh my gosh, poor LA. I've done nothing but thrive since I left there, and I live in a town of 5,000 people, an
What do you
hour and
think
45 minutes from an airport.
What do you think it is about LA that made you feel like what, stifled, or just wasn't your scene?
Well, mostly traffic. I lived my life to avoid traffic now. Uh,
Sound
so
like
I
my
never went
dad.
anywhere. The last year I lived there, I lived in Playa del Rey, which was really cool. In fact, the first couple seasons of Bar Rescue, which is a piece of shit show, but the
I
montage
love
they
that
opened with
show.
were all those cool Playa del Rey bars, and but I would never go to like the Comedy Store. It's Playa del Rey is a little pocket down by the airport. No reason to leave, and I was spending $2,000 a month in rent, which was
Damn.
cheap back then. Uh,
Wow.
and I could live anywhere and do what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what's pretty cool about this. Although I think there's been
You're in New York, right?
yes, yeah, I'm in Westchester, so I'm like about a half hour away. Like I was never really living. I mean, I lived in Brooklyn, then I lived in Astoria, which is I feel like a requirement for being a comedian in the city. It's like, well, you got to pick Brooklyn or Astoria. So I did that and then moved out to Westchester. So it's good. I feel like I'm away from the chaos, but I can still get to the chaos in, an hour and a half if I need to. Are you aware of so I'm kind of interested right now in like the little bit of beef going on between like Jerry Seinfeld and James Altucher, and James wrote this article like New York is dead for sure. Like, let me see. It was on
You're my lifeline to the outside world right now.
really?
I don't know any of this shit. There's no comics to gossip with down here.
Oh no, who else is in Arizona?
Well, nobody, unless
You're
they're
like,
playing here.
that's true. And you're like, I like it that way. James Altucher, he wrote this article. It was very interesting, and it actually got a response from, it was basically like, New York is dead now. It's not coming back. They've been hit before, but this time it's permanent because everybody's going remote. They're using up all the bandwidth. It's like, it's, you know, I missed 2019, and then Seinfeld writes this piece, and this just came out, I think, gosh, this morning. An opinion piece from the New York Times. Jerry Seinfeld says, "So you think New York is dead? It's not." And he called James Altucher, who's, you know, owner or part owner of Stanhope, New York in the city, called him a putz, a putz on LinkedIn. And Seinfeld was like, "Are you kidding me?" You know, I mean, also both of them are super rich, and it's like, you know, you're coming from a rich point of view. We're like, I have a number of places I can live. I'm fine. Like, I'm not scraping by on a food line or something. But Seinfeld is basically like, yeah, well, you know, things don't really thrive remote for a long period of time. There's no energy, and that's what makes New York City really special. It's like people need to, you know, be seeing
But
each other.
I think that's what makes it unlivable. For the record, mostly I've been in Manhattan when I've been there, and in the worst parts, Times Square adjacent, where you can't go out and smoke a cigarette without physically touching other people on a sidewalk.
Yeah, without like burning someone's hair. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I loathe it there, and I hope the guy that said it's dead is right.
You hope it dies? Oh.
Yes. I never understood the allure of all those people, and
the people that are visiting, yeah, they want to see the sites. They want to go on the Sex and the City bus tour. They want to see where movies were shot, but like to actually live there is a fucking job. It's like a real rat race. And unless you're a stand-up comic, like I or a finance bro, they're like, I don't understand the reason to move to New York City.
I don't want to. I want to ask you a bunch of questions, but I understand we're on a podcast where everyone probably knows all the answers.
No, ask away. People don't. This might be some people's first episode.
Well, as far as like, I am in the perfect place to ride this out. I got a house. It's Arizona. I can go outside. I walk my dog. I don't see anyone. But for someone in New York, like I imagine someone who's done 6 months of quarantine in a studio apartment that they're paying $2,800 a month for and not leaving it. And that would be fucking insane. That's like solitary.
I feel so bad for the friends of mine who live in Manhattan or even like still live in Astoria. I mean, I live in a 2-bedroom rental, you know, at a half hour outside the city. It's not like a palatial estate. It's not like I have a yard. You know, I have, you know,
2 bedrooms is pretty palatial for New York.
Like, one is for my boyfriend's kid who comes over every other weekend.
And now, you just ruined the whole thing.
And now a turtle. There's a little tiny turtle in there. And but I've also I put bird seed out on my fire escape, and now I have a squirrel. I have 2 squirrels who like I've sort of trained to come up the fire escape up 4 floors, and they just fucking ruin everything. They eat the bird seed, and then I had to buy like a gigantic bag of squirrel peanuts. They're eating that too, but I brought this on myself. And like, I realized there was like, this was crazy to see. There was a black squirrel who was,
you aren't in the house.
No, they're not in the house. They're like outside on the fire escape. So there's a black squirrel who first started showing up. He would just sit his ass in the bird feeder, and then like he's knocking all of it out. He's like making a mess. And then I started to get really pissed at this squirrel. I would like knock on the window. I'd be like, get the fuck out. And then they're like, people, you got to name him. And I was like, all right, I'll name him Floyd. I don't know. After George Floyd. Sure. Why not? And then I would see, and then this other squirrel started to come, a gray squirrel. And I would see them. I was like, okay, now I definitely got to start putting out nuts because they're going to just wreck this bird feeder. And I swear to God, there was a difference in behavior between the black squirrel and the gray squirrel. The black squirrel was putting in like 2 and 3 nuts in his mouth. He was trying to fit in as many as he could, like classic squirrel behavior. But then he would drop them all. And then the one gray squirrel would just take one and then eat it. And I was like, I don't want to say that this black squirrel is looting my peanuts, but it is what I'm seeing. And I don't want to be, squirrel racist, but I was like, this is, where did these squirrels learn their behavior? Probably in the home. I don't know. Did the squirrel have a dad? I haven't thought about it this much. But this is what I'm doing now instead of like, being on the road doing comedy. I'm a squirrel mom.
Have you performed at all?
There have been a few secret outside shows in Westchester. Like a couple were happening at this golf course. It's all outdoors, and now Cuomo and De Blasio have really set up a lot of very fucking shitty rules. And I just did a podcast yesterday with Noam from the Comedy Cellar and John Borriamo from Stanhope, New York, and talking about how the new rules and regulations are like really fucking them. Like there can be no ticketed events. There's definitely going to be no indoor eating for the foreseeable future. And they just sort of started cracking down on that on some of the outdoor comedy shows because people in like the residential areas are complaining. They're like, we're trying to put our son to sleep and we hear dick jokes like right outside our window.
Yeah, we were going to do comedy on the patio here, which we've done before, and I really want to do again, but I do have neighbors very close. I mean, it's so quiet here that for
Nice.
blocks around, if you have a microphone out there, even just talking without a microphone, many neighbors can hear your conversation. And we've had the cops here before.
Whoa.
Over language complaints when Christine Levine was doing a bit about having 3 kids. And my pussy's so blown out, it looks like it swallowed a dog that chewed its way out. And I'm like, oh, fuck,
God.
we're going to have the cops here. And they did.
Some people are complaining, but then other moms are like opening their window being like, yes, sister, preach. Mine too, All the moms.
But if I had to listen to comedy that I hated, I'd much rather hear loud music from a party down the street than shitty comedy. And
that's true.
Everyone's comedy is shit to 80% of the people.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, so there's been these outdoor shows, but these rules and regulations have really been screwing people. Like Noam was talking about, he spent thousands of dollars on like plexiglass and basically, creating like a human buffet around the stage, and did all these things, and now we still can't open. And there's strip clubs some of them are open doing socially distant lap dances, but we can't have comedy. And so, we were wondering if maybe this is a crackdown on free speech, or if they're just, so disorganized and they don't realize that the rules.
Yeah, that's sense. I've gone through my conspiracy theory phase. I think every comic, you go through your dick jokes relationship. I just broke up with my boyfriend kind of shit. And then
onto the deep state. Yeah.
Well, yeah, eventually you go through your atheist phase or your political phase, and then into the conspiracy theory phase.
What are your favorite conspiracy theories?
The old ones. Well, once you hear about Operation Northwoods, you go down that. Well, if that was on the table, then anything could be true. And Oklahoma City conspiracy. There's a book called "You Are Being Lied To," and it's a compilation. Disinfo has the book, and it's like 40 different people talking about different subjects. It's a fucking great book, and I remember being all into that. And that's when I went into my hardcore conspiracy theory shit. And Joe Rogan was all about the fake moon landing. This is like 15, 20 years ago, but I remember watching a 4-hour VHS. That's how long ago it was.
Ooh, tapes. Yeah.
Yeah, VHS 4 hours about how the moon landing was all fake. And I'm gullible. Like,
I mean,
I wonder if I'm more gullible, more skeptical because I'm so gullible. So, like, I watched that and I immediately went, oh, it's obvious this is a fake moon landing because you just beat it into my head like a false confession for 4 hours. And then I Google debunk fake moon landing, and then I read all this shit about how that movie's dog shit, and then I believe that, and then I realize I just spent like 6 hours and I don't really give a fuck if we landed on the moon because it doesn't affect my life.
I think what's important is to consider the possibility that it could be faked. And I think that like the more creative your mind is and your like ability to think outside the box, right? Like if you're a comic, you have a hugely creative mind. You're constantly, you know, making observations and constantly analyzing. Well, then I feel like you're going to be more open to other things that are outside the status quo. And, oh, are we being lied to? Like I got really excited when I thought you said that the You're Being Lied To book was 40 pages long, and I was like, oh no, 40 people.
Yeah.
I could have finished that book so fast. But I think the more creative you
But
are,
I say you can open up to anyone. Okay, this is about I don't know, Twin Towers. There's a million things. It's very interesting, and it's just all the ways the media deceives you.
for sure. It's like you hear about conspiracy, conspiracy theory. Oh, 9/11 was an inside job. And then you learn all about like the proof that supports that. And then you see this other, oh, well, this is this website called Snopes that debunks it all. But then you realize Snopes is just like 4 people in their basement and maybe they're full of shit. So it's
Exactly.
like, it becomes like,
but that's the problem, as where you're giving it a positive spin. The more I think, oh, that's bullshit, I just don't believe anything unless it's affecting my life directly.
yeah.
I don't fucking. I think if I were on the road, I'd be invested in watching news all the time. But no, I don't give a fuck.
That's a great place to be. I mean, look at you. You look like you're about to own a lizard, you know, like you're the whole just like desert man vibe. I'm into it. Yeah. And I don't watch mainstream media anymore.
I'll take you outside.
Oh, good. Yeah. You look like you have multiple pinball machines. You look like you live in a taco restaurant.
All right. Put on your sunglasses.
Okay. Oh, wait, I don't.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes. Give us the whole tour, Doug. Oh my goodness.
Those are tents for the flies. It's
wow.
Great Amazon find.
But you have you have these like things that go over your food. Somebody just showed that to me I was at the pool last weekend, and it's something that like goes over your food so the flies don't
get shitloads of flies. But yeah, that's the patio where we can either do shows or watch movies at night and social distance.
I love it. Wow. And like I thought it was asphalt at first, but these are just like green tiles on the ground here.
Oh yeah, we're under a bit of construction in the funhouse. This is where we do our podcast.
My God. Yeah, it must be nice to have like a lot of different areas to go into.
Yeah, this is the bar where we do the podcast. We just repainted, so it's all going to be put back up.
Is All Things Comedy, are they having anybody in studio now, or is it everybody's remote?
I have no idea what people do. That's why I'm saying you're my. You're going to tell me what's going on in the world.
Oh. Well, I do a podcast on Compound Media, and we were open and functional throughout the whole lockdown, which was awesome because we were able to say that we were media and news and we were providing an essential service. But the people, the talent that was kind of scared of COVID, they were able to do it, do it through Zoom and then send it to the booth, and then they would just play it. So I did that for a few months because my co-host was looking sort of squirrely for a little bit. He was coughing, and I was like, maybe we'll do this from home for a little bit. So
I've been coughing like I had COVID for at least 15 years smoking. All right, I got to go back in because I can't see it all.
So you look like you have it's like the vibe of where they put the old signs in Vegas, where they have like the outdoor museum. That's kind of what your backyard feels like.
Yeah, we get a ton.
The people listening to this just on audio are really, really missing out right now. This is a full tour.
Well, plug your Patreon to get them on video. I don't know where you're going.
The video goes on YouTube, which is also free. On Patreon, I'll put, photos of me in bathing suits and, it's mostly that. And then like podcasts that I've recorded before I release them to the public. I stick it
That hasn't worked for me, the whole bathing suit thing.
You just got to find the right bathing suit, I think. Get the lighting right. Yeah.
All
Wow,
right.
very cute. This is cute, Doug. You have this is like a real homey home.
Well, I've had a lot of time to clean up as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Home Depots have been like such long lines, and I'm just going in trying to get 2 gallons of bird seed, and I gotta wait in line.
I have not been in. I've gone to the corner store 4 or 5 times to get cigarettes, but I haven't
Wow.
been in a grocery store since February.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you a person who is scared of COVID?
Well, I'm definitely at risk. I've been smoking for 40 years.
All
A
right, just
lot.
40 years. Okay.
So yeah, I wouldn't fare well, and that's not the way I want to die on a ventilator. I watched my mother do that, and
Ugh.
pretty gross.
Yeah. I
Not from
definitely
COVID, from smoking.
My mom died of brain cancer. I for sure know that I don't want to die like that because although she
Brain
was
cancer or aneurysm?
brain cancer.
Brain cancer.
Yeah. She was very funny though. Like she was always so funny, but like growing up all I would hear about is like my dad wanted her to lose weight, my mom would hide her coffee Haagen-Dazs. She'd wrap it up in a plastic bag, hide it in the freezer, and she would only take it out and eat it after he went to sleep. And then that's when we would all sort of like gather up, like me and my sister, and we'd have like secret ice cream time. And then we'd be like, "Fuck Dad," because he'd always like have a comment if we were eating it in front of him. He'd be like, "Oh,
Hey, you're
everyone's
cutting
getting
out.
fat." And my mom was like not a fat lady. She had a regular mom body. She was like 5'2", 150 pounds, like standard issue mom size, And then she got cancer and started losing a ton of weight. And she said to my dad, she was like, "Well, Frank, you always wanted me to be skinny. And now I'm skinny, but I also have cancer."
Oh, all right. He was hiding the ice cream before the cancer.
Yeah, and then she was
Okay.
eating ice cream, breakfast, lunch, dinner in his face. Like, oh my God. It was like sad, but also just funny in those moments of like, yeah, she's taking her fuck yous when she can. Good for you, Mom.
I thought you were saying he's hiding the ice cream from her when she had cancer. Like, what a dick.
Oh my God, that would be the worst. Oh my God. Yeah. That's the thing.
Didn't you wear that shirt yesterday?
Yeah, you overheard me at the beginning. I don't know if I think I did. I might have worn this shirt.
No, you said it at the beginning. I'm just fucking with you.
It's okay. Like I really just get dressed from a pile on the floor and I go like, what looks okay,
I've worn maybe 3 different outfits for the entirety of this 5 months.
Yeah. Usually like what's amazing about not going into the city every day is, oh my God, I'm saving so much money. Like I would walk by a Sephora to and from my normal like work path, whatever. And I would be like, no doubt buying a lipstick every 2 to 3 weeks or something. I'd go in there and I'd be like, I could be prettier. And then I would just buy something from Sephora or TJ Maxx, which is like that's the biggest scam right there. You're like, everything's discounted. Oh, I need a flamingo for my yard. And then you get home like, I don't have a fucking yard, but it was $5.
For the first month or two, I wasn't even buying Amazon because I thought, well, I'm putting someone's life at risk. These glasses were the only thing I bought in like 6 weeks.
Wow.
Those orange reading glasses. And I go, I just put someone's life at risk to deliver me some fucking $9 orange tinted fucking reading glasses.
I've never.
And then after a while, I went, fuck them. They got to die of something. And I've been on Amazon and eBay buying dumb shit I don't need, just like when I used to be in the world.
I wish that the people delivering our packages could know what's in them, Like, I feel like the people delivering them deserve to know, like, who's going to what person. Like, it's somebody like me is like, and like, enjoy your gigantic purple dildo, ma'am. Like, I feel like that should be a job perk.
I think a dildo is more forgivable than other items.
Oh yeah, like what? Like a single pair of socks or something. Like just get out, go to the store, man.
I'm trying to think of the fucking worst things I've bought. I don't even.
Like glasses. But I feel you because I didn't buy anything. It might have also been 6 weeks or 2 months. I was like, I feel like a lot of people were in this sort of like scared, like lockdown mode. You're like, well, I got to keep all my money in case I have to buy tuna and rice with it. You know, me and my boyfriend started to like buy some canned goods, but then we would be like, well, shit is really going down. Like we're going to run out of tuna in about 2 weeks. So then we would like get upset. We've got to buy more. And now is our life just being people who buy canned goods and like, where the fuck are we going to put them? I don't know. It was stressful. And then I've been, you know, he's barely been drinking. I've been drinking every day, just without fail. Like a drink just finds its way into my hands so easily.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, I might have to I thought I stocked up. I made a couple of rum smoothies for this, and
I'm like, oh, I need to for my podcasts. I need to be fun and I need to be relatable. I don't know.
that's
Well, here we go. Hey, how did this happen? My producer handed me a Truly. These I've really been enjoying. Like I was on the White Claw thing because you know I'm a white woman, but then Truly's I feel like are a far superior product because it's not like as bubbly and weird. Wow, look at your colorful
I'm gonna make a vodka soda grapefruit.
Ooh. Doug, have you been sort of steadily on the road this whole time, the last 6 months?
Have I been on the road?
Yeah.
I haven't gone anywhere.
Everything's been canceled. Didn't I see you had a couple of dates coming up?
I shouldn't on my site.
Okay.
Everything I have got moved to, I think, starts in March or April.
Okay.
And I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah. I remember
early on, I was like, I imagined COVID all ending at the same time for everyone. And like,
right. It'd be like a hard
the
stop.
stage, everyone doing COVID material, and that's all you have to talk about. Like, that's the hard part about my podcast is I don't have guests. So it's just us having done nothing for a week going, so what's new? Like, I have this friend, Bobby Caldwell. He's on Twitter. He's in prison in Michigan.
Oh no! What did he do?
A website. He tried to kill himself in a drug and alcohol depression, and the wife came down the stairs to stop him, and he tried to shoot himself, and he killed her at the top of the stairs.
What? All right. Well,
I know it sounds like that could be bullshit, but even like the sheriff said, yeah, that's what happened.
That sounds like just a big oopsie, whoops, mistake. I mean,
yeah. And he's a brilliant writer. He's a really smart guy. I talk to him on the phone every couple days. He's on Twitter at Notes from the Pen.
Notes from the Pen. Oh, like the penitentiary.
Yeah, and that's his website as well. But I talk to him every 3 days, and when you talk to someone in prison saying what's new, nothing. And I'm the same way. Well, I got nothing new. Like, I just tell them what I'm eating for dinner.
Yeah. Well, that probably is comforting to somebody who's in prison to be like, well, I guess I'm not missing anything. Like, this is probably the best time to be in prison.
Oh, these are fucking good. Spindrift? I don't know if you're
Oh, really? They have particles. It has like little...
It's got real juice. It says on the box, we squeeze one full grapefruit into this 8-pack. But it's really good, and that way you don't need a mixer.
Oh yeah, I've had that. You got that easy, clean living out there in Arizona.
I'm sorry, this is very unprofessional, but I should have set up a bar at my fucking table. So when do you think you're gonna go back out?
Oh, let's see. This Saturday, I have an outdoor show to do in Connecticut, so I'm gonna get it up for that, and yeah, hopefully try to come back. I mean, I was in LA in March. Like, I got so lucky because I did a bunch of shows, and then my very last day was, I think, March 12th, and things were starting to get squirrely, so I lost maybe like one day. But yeah.
They're doing shows I know Texas was doing shows real early. You heard about like Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub getting COVID in fucking San Antonio.
Oh God, really? I was gonna see what's your take on I mean, there's always some sort of different cancel culture bullshit going on, but kind of more recently with D'Elia and Callen, to me it seems like I don't know, the powers that be want to cancel Rogan, they can't, so they're trying to get at his friends.
Yeah, that whole Joey Diaz thing where Rogan became the headline. First of all, if you know Joey Diaz, no one believes a fucking word of that. You know he's the biggest gentleman in the fucking planet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very happy that I don't know Brian Callen or Chris D'Elia. Never met them that I know of. No idea.
You're not sure.
I've stood up for people when I had fucking inside knowledge, and that's as far as I'll go. After that, I have no fucking opinion, which most people shouldn't if they don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to be. Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like I just feel like in the last this was not a thing more than 10 years ago, and I just like from your experience, why do you think like people have become more emboldened to, try to cancel a comic they don't like instead of just, moving on?
Well,
like when did you
there's always mob mentality, and as far as anyone who would lie about it, it's a form of attention. One day I'll write it as a bit and be more succinct. No idea. But no one, like the whole Me Too movement doesn't affect, like, you're far less likely to be sexually assaulted or even untowards by a famous person, but the fucking guy at Jiffy Lube that raped you is still working at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah, he's still Jiffy Lubing.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem fair.
They can't cancel him because no one else wants that fucking job.
Yeah, all the people who have sexually not assaulted, but like taking advantage of me, none of them are famous. So it's like, what's the point? I wouldn't, I'd be wasting my breath. And you have said that no one has ever Me Too'd you. And do you have feelings about that? Does that make you feel?
I address it in the special.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that was such a long thing. Because I remember it kind of starting in the comedy world with Daniel Tosh, saying, wouldn't it be funny if a bunch of people raped her? And that was when it started. And from that point till I did the special, I had accumulated how many fucking hours of Me Too notes in my notebook. And then, but you assume it's going to be over. You assumed COVID would stop the whole canceling people, but then that hit the Black Lives Matter protests, and the protests they stopped covering because it's the same story every night, and then it went right back into more Me Too shit. Or at least on Twitter, where I get most of my news.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like I get most of my news from just independent podcaster types like Tim Pool or mostly conspiracy people, but a little bit of regular news, but not so much.
What's your favorite conspiracy?
Oh God. I mean, right now I'm really into, child trafficking is not even a conspiracy theory. It's a big, huge problem. There's like a crazy, huge pedophile problem.
Hey, have your producer look this up while we talk.
Okay.
I think it's called the Franklin conspiracy. That was a very obscure one when I was into conspiracy theories. And it's about Boys Town and trafficking boys, and again, George Bush and people coming in to fuck kids. And
I watched a documentary about that.
All right, so yeah, now Epstein is the new Franklin conspiracy with Clinton and Trump and. Oh
yeah, Prince Andrew. I made a sketch about it, and I feel like it really should have gotten more love. And it was like an idea I had a long time ago, but I was like, I got to do it or else someone else is going to do it. And then no one is even, it's gotten some views, and the sketch was called that feeling like I gotta get on top of this, and then it's like, nope. The sketch is called the Epstein School of Massage, and it was basically like the training video that like a Ghislaine would send out, and I was like the Ghislaine character, and I was like, hi, if you're watching this, somebody you know thinks you would be great for our massage collective, you know, but don't take it from me, let's hear it from the girls. And then I just had like a couple of my porn star and comedian friends like pretending to be the girls, like, I've been here for 4 years. And then I don't know if you know Karen Feehan, she's a super funny comic here in New York, and like I had, you know, it would be like straight man, and then the crazy girl, you know, like the two girls in a row that are like, oh yeah, I've been working here for 4 years. And then I'd have Karen being like, Prince Andrew eats cereal out of my asshole, you know, like when it would get to this section on networking. And I just thought I think it's so fucking funny, but I think it's also like, unless you understand like a lot of the Epstein stuff, you're not going to find it funny, because that was his whole deal. He was like, oh, come over and give me a massage. And then he'd be laying on a table with his dick out. And that was his thing. And that worked for years just because he's super rich. And he would like pay the girls $200, which is like why one of the lines in my sketch, it would be Karen being like, oh, $200 is $200. Like, what am I going to do? You know, how else do you get it's funny because it's like there probably was some girls that enjoyed it, but there were probably more that were like, I'm 14, 15 years old, I don't know any better, like, you know, this is not a good summer job. But like I remember being that age, and like I liked attention from guys, but I would have been very, very easy to get wrapped up in that. Like if I had been born and raised in New York City, I think I for sure would have been one of Epstein's gals, because I just always needed money. I was always like stealing from the mall or something. I always wanted like, you know, new earrings or a tank top from Abercrombie. And I was like, I for sure would have jerked off an old man for $200. Like, yeah, I would have been right in there because I didn't have an allowance. I don't know. But luckily I grew up on Long Island. It's tricky.
Is it the what's the big word? So I thesaurus.com wrote most of all 3 of the books that I wrote.
Ooh.
I don't have a great book, but the point is, boys versus it's a trope that, well, if it was a 16-year-old boy, would you have this much of a problem? And that is a serious issue. Like, you should know about fucking when you're biologically ready to bear children. That's why so many fucking teenagers have fucking kids of their own at 16 years old, because you don't teach them about fucking. When you're ready to have a baby, you should have all the fucking information. Yeah. Naturally, generally, you won't fuck someone older. If I was 16 and you talked about me fucking a 38-year-old, I'd go, ew, gross.
Yeah. That's the thing. And that's what I know what happened with me. My parents never gave me a talk. And I think what a lot of parents do is like, well, I'm not going to talk to my kids about it until I think they're ready to start thinking about fucking, versus when they're actually thinking about fucking, or when their bodies are physically changing, which is like way earlier than anybody thinks. Like,
yeah, you can't legislate morality. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, you're an adult at 18? No, we're in the back seat at fucking 14. And no. If I knew, hey, jerk off on her tits, don't fucking come inside of her, I can see where that would be an awkward conversation for a parent, or a conversation that would actually get your kids taken away.
I could actually see you, like, with your current look, having that conversation. Like, you're the guy that I could see telling their kid, just jerk off on their tits.
I've had that conversation when someone brought a fucking kid into my show, those random shows where you go, why is there a fucking 11-year-old in the front row? And I've just thrown my act out the window and sat and taught the kid everything about drugs, sex, fucking the importance of school. No, It's not important. I quit after 9th grade and never wished I'd stayed.
That'll teach a parent to bring a younger kid to a comedy show. You're like, now that I have your ear, I'm gonna pick up where your parents left off, and there's nothing they can do about it. They have to just sit there, or they take the kid out, and then yeah.
I would do that on, I don't know if morning radio is still a thing comics have to do, but
Yeah,
where they'd send you like into the building that has 8 different stations. Okay, this is like light FM, so keep it toned down. You can't, we know you swear a lot, but so I just talk to the, soccer moms driving their kids to school and do the same thing. Listen, I'm not going to swear, but I am going to tell you this. If you're going to do drugs, here's the drugs that are good.
What are the drugs that are good? I would say weed.
Well, ecstasy I used to enjoy, but you never know what you're getting. That's what I tell kids. Have your friends try the batch first and see if they're enjoying it.
Watch them. Yeah. Yeah, I've done Molly, and it's like the next day you have to take something called 5-HTP. It's like a vitamin that's supposed to restore your like good
serotonin.
Feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, I get to a place where like I literally cried at a Simpsons episode the next day. And this is fucking.
Which episode?
Something where Marge said something that my mother would have said, but your serotonin depletes so much that other than edibles, I've had small amounts of mushrooms lately, but
yeah, mushrooms are
sporadically.
I always like the realizations I have when I'm on mushrooms. Like I'm always like, oh, you're pretty good. You're doing okay, Chrissy. Wow, look at your hand. And then like that's the rest of your day. Amazing, cool shit. What are the best drugs, Doug, in your opinion, like for being on stage or for comedy?
The only one that's ecstasy I've done on stage. It was kind of fun to try to yell and be angry with a perma grin on. So fuck! Good. I stopped myself from tweeting that. I don't know if you saw Nick DiPaolo was going on this fucking tirade, and Nick has always been one of my favorite bitter guys. Like I toured with him years ago, and he's just always angry but really funny. And I think he's not trying to be funny anymore. I think it was during the DNC. He was just going off, like no jokes, just seething fucking anger. And I wanted to tweet, I got him to do ecstasy in Vancouver once at the end of a tour on my birthday. And it was the same thing. Watching Nick try to be miserable with the fucking Joker permagrin coming up on his face was hilarious.
Ruining his brand. Yeah.
I wanted to tweet that at him during his tirade. Hey, remember when you had that?
You still could. You could be like.
I don't want to get involved in anyone's shit right now.
And another thing. Remember that time you were on drugs? Yeah.
Cocaine was the one. I've always been able to do cocaine medicinally, like a bump before a fucking late show Saturday when I've been drinking through the whole first show. Yeah, it worked out great. But I've tried being high on stage. I've tried hallucinogens a few times. Always a bad idea. Unless I've taken them like when I'm going on stage or taking them on stage. Like I had a guy throw a chocolate at me once in Arlington Draft House, and I ate it right there off the floor. And
it like bounces off your knee, hits the floor, and then you just pick it up and eat it.
Well, it was in aluminum foil, but back when I was younger and more adventurous with more energy, I'd take shit that people threw at me on stage and hope for the best. Yeah. That night the guy goes, I can't believe you ate that whole chocolate, because I was just coming on as I got off stage, which is why it worked out. He's like, you could have split that with 4 people. I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be a long night.
Holy shit. So what would you recommend, like definitely not to take on stage? What, like maybe mushrooms in a higher dose than you can handle? Or probably acid is probably bad. I don't know. I've never done it.
Mushrooms and acid have always, I can't tell the difference. It's a good trip or it's a bad trip. But I've tried to do that. One time we planned on doing early morning mushrooms. So we'd be on stage during the come down where you still have all those thoughts, but you're not fucking wigged out. But that didn't work out. That went poorly immediately.
Wow. Do you ever like, I
What,
imagine
have you done drugs on stage?
no, I mean, oh my God, like I've been on stage when I know I'm a little too drunk, which is terrible because I hated that feeling. Oh, I'm like, I'm not in control of my sharpness, my timing. Like I'm not listening as well. I'm not as observant of the crowd and what's going on around me. So I hated feeling like, oh wow, I'm handing my set over to something else. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have more than 2 drinks before going on stage. One is like the sweet spot because I feel like I get kind of drunk kind of quick, but I've never, yeah, I will smoke weed afterwards, never before, because I just don't want to feel like I'm not, as sharp.
When I said cocaine, it's good for your confidence. It doesn't necessarily mean you're having a good show, but you feel like, oh, this is a bit I've done for 16 months. I'm so tired of it, but now it's making me think of other things. And you're abandoning punchlines, but your fucking brain is fertile. Not necessarily good for the show. They
I
don't know what
imagine
you're talking about.
if you're that would be my fear, that you do a drug and you just forget your bits. Like you're just enamored with the lights or something. Like, has that ever happened to you where you've just forgotten your
Yeah, there was a show in Fort Lauderdale where there was a big screen TV of me behind me, like a giant screen, and I made the mistake of seeing it. I turned around and
oh God.
yeah, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I look like. Yeah.
Were you just like, oh man, I gotta get my shit together, like talking to yourself.
Yeah, my wife Bingo was selling merch afterwards, and I was so fucking peaking that I just said, leave it, just give it away. Let's get the fuck out of here. We just abandoned our own merch booth to run to a quiet bar.
Just throwing t-shirts at everybody. Damn. Yeah, I bought a bunch of merch, and then like the lockdowns happened, and I'm like, damn it. I have all these t-shirts just based on like one punchline of one joke, and I was like, well, I can't stop telling this joke until I sell all these fucking t-shirts, I guess. I don't know.
What's a t-shirt say?
Oh God, do I have one? Like I might actually have one under here. So the t-shirt says, it's in the PayPal font, and it says PayPal for Chrissy Mayer, because one of my jokes is like, I don't want a sugar daddy, but the next step down would be nice, like a PayPal, like just somebody who picks up the little things. And I was like, I gotta make a t-shirt out of this. And then but now I have like a lot left, so I might just send them to my Patreon people. They're good quality,
You'll throw it in as an add-on when you have new merch. You go, oh, and you'll get this for free.
You'll get the very rare vintage. Yeah, it's hard to know. But I want to make like thongs. I don't know. I have a show on Compound Media called The Wet Spot, so I want to make like cum towels, but I don't know.
Stank rag?
Yeah. But then it's like, now I'm a person who sells cum rags, Isn't that who I am? I guess it is.
It beats getting screamed at a fucking dollar store to make a living. I ain't wearing no fucking mask.
Did that happen to you?
No, I don't go out. I don't go into businesses.
Wow.
But I see the videos, and I see where shit can go horribly wrong, and I know how lucky I am to be here.
Yeah, good for you. Or just ordering glasses like nothing's wrong.
I get go ahead.
What? I know. I can understand why people are like pissed about the mask thing, because all we heard in the beginning is how much they don't work, and how, we'd have like actual doctors being like, yeah, we only use them so that we don't spit into people's mouths when we're doing surgery or whatever. So I can understand why people are like torn on the issue.
That's one of the things we were talking about earlier, where I get most of my news on Twitter. I also realize I follow mostly only comedians. So
that's good.
Well, no, it's kind of one point of view. I don't hear a lot because both fucking major Fox and CNN, I don't believe any of them. I mean, I hate
Yeah.
fucking Trump just because he's a disgusting human being.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like he's not somebody I would date, but he has shaken things up. He is the funniest president we've had so far. He does have funny tweets.
When he first got elected and everyone's saying, "Whoa, you have so much to work from now."
Oh God, that was annoying.
No, you don't, because it's like people who would write material from News of the Weird. Do you see this where a guy got his dick cut off trying to fuck a vacuum cleaner? Well, it's inherently funny, so there's nothing you can add.
What are you
Really?
gonna add to it? Yeah.
Yeah. What was he thinking? Probably something stupid that's already funny so Trump is like that.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous. I have nothing to add. There's aspects to, oh, now everyone thinks they can run for president. What if there was a fucking guy that wasn't a piece of shit?
He would also need to have like a lot of recognition. Like he had that going for him. He's been famous for decades. Like, so he didn't have to spend time or money trying to get his name out there. He already was like Trump coming into politics was like Jeremy Piven coming into comedy. Everybody already knew who he was. Whether or not he's good or funny, it's like, all right, well, let's see how many seats he sells, I guess. And then
all right, so let's say like a Sam Elliott that everyone can agree is really fucking cool. Like, if that opened the door for something like that to happen, who hates Sam Elliott? Steve Buscemi. I'm just trying to think of, universally loved people. But if Trump is just so indicative of people that get famous because they create hate. Before president, he was a dick on his fucking reality show. Like Jersey Shore, you watch it to hate it, or the Kardashians. Why are they famous? All those people, they get famous only because they upset a lot of people. Yeah, can you believe they're in the news? That's because you're buying the fucking tabloid. That's because you're watching TMZ. That's why someone you hate.
I think The Apprentice helped Trump get elected because we were already watching him for years in kind of an executive way. The high back chairs. He looks great. Good lighting. He looks as good as he can look. He's making decisions. He's being decisive. And I think like for most Americans, politics and entertainment are already fused together anyway. So it's like they might as, I think he really solidified the fusion of politics and entertainment.
It's all different now, and I'm kind of happy to be alive during it. Like, I'm in a good spot, but it's like if 9/11 happened and the Twin Towers still hadn't fallen 6 months later. Right now, to be alive.
Wait, you mean if the planes hit the Twin Towers and then they fell down 6 months later?
No, I'm saying this is like if you were alive for 9/11, this is a similar feeling, but the towers still haven't fallen.
Yeah. Except the towers are everybody's jobs.
I meant the people dying and shit.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's probably a lot of suicides going on that aren't being reported because of like depression and people losing their jobs. Yeah.
I have another podcast in 3 minutes.
Oh God! All right,
I don't want to go. I want to blow them off.
Blow them off. Or you could send me the link and I could Zoom bomb it, and then we could just keep making it about us.
Let me see. I'm not really good at any of this shit. Hang on. Let me see. Let me see if. I don't know how fucking Zoom or anything
podcast
works.
Is it?
I'm not sure.
Did they send you a link? You probably talked to them
this
on
is
Twitter.
Mind Dog TV. This is one where Shane Gillis.
Yes, I know Shane Gillis. Yeah,
he drove out at the beginning of COVID and camped out here for a few weeks.
Oh wow, that's great.
And we get on drunk on other people's Zooms.
So this is called Mind Dog TV.
Yeah, everyone's supposed to send me a link because that's all I know how to do is click on something.
Yeah, you just got to click on a link. You got to make it easy for people.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Do the Zoom, Doug. We can always do this again.
I would love to do it again.
Good, and I'll be your source of news.
Oh wait, didn't you have fucking Roger Stone on?
Yeah, yeah.
How
I had
did
him
that
on
happen?
last week. You know, we're just buds. We're just old buds. Go way back. No, I just know his publicist, and I thought it was a long shot, and I was like, you know, let's see if I can talk to this dude. Why not? And I had
All
just
right. Politics aside, most punchable face, Roger Stone or that Martin Shkreli guy?
Scarelli. Oof. That's really tricky because they're both punchable in different ways. Like when I first saw Roger Stone, I'm like, oh, he looks like a gay Monopoly man, like Monopoly man, but with more style and pizzazz. So, I mean, but I've also never done a podcast with Scarelli, so maybe I'll have to go with him for more punchable.
Yeah, I was going to do a side-by-side photo thing on Twitter, but you have to see them emote to want to really hammer their face in.
Yeah.
So it would have to be live action. But yeah, that fucking Roger Stone, God, every time I see him being smug, I just want to smash out his glass lenses.
I don't think he means to be. I think he just comes off that way. Just like people have a resting bitch face, I think he has like a resting smug face.
Yeah, but with those glasses, that's like Sally Jesse Raphael going out of their way to look like a douche.
Those glasses are definitely a choice. I mean,
there are people that get off on people hating them because they play into their strong suit.
Yeah, it's attention either way, good or bad. I mean, the last 7 minutes, we just talked about actual pizza, which I found to be the most fun part of the podcast.
That's the clip I saw, yeah.
He knows a lot. He knows a lot. I was like, wow, this is fun.
Yeah, you're saying I'll drive 4 hours out of my way just to get a good pizza that I heard about?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fun when you humanize.
I like to humanize people.
Well,
that's a terrible when someone needs to be humanized, it's like, well, I guess people don't think of them as human yet. Whoops. But that's what I'm here to do. All right, Doug. We're going to close this out so you can go to your other Zoom. Everybody, check out his album, The Dying of a Last Breed. Download his book on Audible, No Encore for the Donkey. I did download it because I have an Audible subscription. I have a lot of tokens, and I'm not doing a lot of reading or listening to books, but I did download yours, and I did start it. So I advise.
Hey, and for you too. Oh, I haven't.
Are you going to sign my Audible book?
No, I'm plugging someone else's book.
Oh.
Sam Talent, Running the Light. It's it's fiction, but it's the best stand-up comedy book I've ever read about road comedy. There's 11 of us that are going to do the Audible version. He's going to have a different comedian read a different chapter. So me and Kreischer and Jackie Cation, Adam Caton Holland, we're all going to read. But it's one of the best books I've read, period.
Better than Judy Carter's Comedy Bible?
What's that?
Better than Judy Carter's Comedy Bible?
Oh my God. Is she still alive?
I don't know, probably.
No, this is it's fiction, but it hits every beat of the mentality. The protagonist is a 53-year-old alcoholic, fucking drug addict, washed up comic still doing shitty one-nighters in West Texas and Colorado. So yeah, it spoke to me maybe more than other comics, but you've worked with that headliner. It's so well written. When I read it, every 3 pages, I was reading quotes out loud. It's just a brilliant writer.
Awesome. All right, I'll put that in the details for this episode. Awesome.
I'm way better at plugging other people's shit.
Yes, it's always easier to plug somebody else than yourself. And check out Doug's podcast, the Doug Stanhope podcast, on all things comedy. Doug, thank you so much. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Thanks, Chrissy. A pleasure. Thank that fucking asshole who sent a mean tweet that made me.
I will.
See, sometimes assholes work out for our betterment.
Yeah.
Sometimes a heckler gives you a few minutes of new material.
So true.
Doesn't mean you should do it. All right. I love you. Bye.
Bye.